Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Matt Schulteis, and this is a restaurant marketing made simple case study walkthrough. My goal for this is to walk you through results of a real life client running our programs so you can see exactly how that proven method that we have of driving new and repeat business into your restaurant works. So let's take a look really quick here at our first slide. And I want to just emphasize that this is all about stopping the hope and pray method of marketing your restaurant. And you probably know what I'm talking about. The hope and pray method is somebody walks in the door, spends money with you, and if you're not able to get them into some type of a loyalty program or something that you offer, maybe your business offers an app, maybe you don't offer any of that stuff. But usually what happens is that you kind of just hope and pray that they'll come back, that whatever experience they had or anything like that, that they're going to think of you and they're going to come back. And I'm going to say that that is a very, very bad strategy to focus in on, especially if you're trying to grow your restaurant. And I want to show you an alternative here. Now, the alternative, we can take a look at something like this. This is actually an example of a live ad that we have for a client. And you can see the comment on this one. We'll focus in on that here. But they said, hey, I didn't even know you existed. But now, since yesterday was my birthday and we're going out tomorrow night to celebrate, I know where we're going before dinner, right? And not even taking a look at just this in a microcosm, like we're taking a look and seeing that this person was reached by using a Facebook ad to go out to the people who live around the restaurant, but like this customer here, did not even know that this place existed. And so on top of that, obviously we got comments, 140 comments, shares, things like that, that we can go through. But what we talk about and what our emphasis is where is your guest's attention? So if I'm in a restaurant, I know what I'm doing. I'm on my phone. If I'm waiting to be seated, I'm on my phone. Once I get seated, I'm on my phone. In fact, a lot of the times what has to happen is that the server will come over and they'll say, hey, are you ready to order? And I won't be ready to order because I've been looking at my phone and not at the menu. So you guys know this truth is self-evident, right? We see it all the time. It's happening in every restaurant across the country. People's attention is on their phones. We just got through the election and all of those different things. And, there was a ton of attention on that at that time, but now the attention is going to shift back to other things that are going on. And this is where you can really take your marketing and your efforts to grow your restaurant's customer base to the next level because you need to be there on that phone. And it's one of the easiest things to do when you know how. So that's exactly what I want to talk to you about with this video. Now, one of the things that we look at, and traditionally in marketing, if you've done any marketing of your restaurant in the past, you know that you're really renting an audience, whether it's you're doing a radio ad, you're doing a billboard, you're doing TV, or you're putting out coupons in local magazines or things like that. That audience is being rented. At the end, you're spending your money, your ad dollars, to get immediate sales. And really, what you're doing when you do that is you're almost shooting yourself in the foot, and we say, don't do that. Spend those ad dollars to build something that you actually control, an audience that you own, so that way then you can go to that audience and broadcast messages to them, and then that will bring in sales as a result. So let's take a look at the 3 ways that we can increase restaurant sales. Number 1, you can go out and get new customers. Now, that's one of the hardest things to do, especially because you're limited by being in the restaurant and there's not very many other places you can go out to bring in new customers just by yourself. And then also your current customers. The current customers, they're one of the biggest promoters because they've already been in the restaurant, they know the food, they love the experience, and they're going to be the biggest promoter of you whenever you go. And they're going to be the biggest promoter for anything you're going to do in your restaurant. So let's take those two people and let's reach out to them on social media. because new customers that live around your restaurant, that like that customer in the first example, had no idea that that restaurant even existed. Well, there's, I promise you, a ton of those type of people around your restaurant as well. And then let's include our current customers, because they're going to be the proof to the new customers that your restaurant is actually a great place to go and visit and have dinner or lunch or whatever else. And then let's turn those people into repeat customers. And how do we do that? Well, we do that by getting them in the door multiple times. That's how we turn them into repeat customers. So we say, you need to make a few different offers to them to get them into the door. Once you get them in the door, say 3 to 4 times, well then you've got a high statistical likelihood that they're going to become repeat guests over and over and over again into your restaurant. And then the final thing you want to do to increase your restaurant sales is you want to increase that average check size. Offer them something you wouldn't normally offer them something that they wouldn't normally order for free, so that way they're going to try it, they're going to love it, and the next time that they come in the restaurant, they're going to think of that and they're going to order it. And that's how you increase the average check size down the road as well. So how do we do this for restaurants? Well, it all starts with attention. First, before anybody can ever buy anything from your restaurant, a guest has to know you even exist. So job number 1 is get attention. Get likes, get shares, get views on videos, get people engaging with your brand, commenting back and forth, those kind of things. But then utilize that to grow yourself a database of people where you gain your customers' contact info. Think about it. What you need to do, and utilizing with social media, is you need to identify people who should be buying from you, who should be walking in the door and spending money, and then you need to get their contact info. And this is super important, because when you have their contact info, now you have the ability, because you own that, to follow up with them, to send them other offers, basically to ask them to buy from you. That's the biggest thing. It's a missed opportunity for a lot of restaurants that we work with across the country, because they're not getting their guests' email, they're not getting their guests' cell phone number, they're not getting their guests' messenger subscription to their Facebook page, and they're not doing anything to retarget the guests that do come in and spend money and stay in front of them on social media. And then obviously that database, you've got to grow that into sales. And the sales aspect of it, what's great is that with our restaurant secret weapon system, you can actually see who walked in the door and spent money. And this is all done to recoup your ad costs so that your advertising for you is virtually free. You're spending money on the front end, you're reaching people, but you're able to drive them into the restaurant, and you're able to see that they're spending money, covering your costs, essentially giving you a lot of free advertising. And then we take that customer data and we leverage it, right? You want to be able to, whether you work with us or you do it on your own, take customer data and utilize it to grow the restaurant, right? Find out when's their birthday, send them an offer. How often do they visit? Can we ask them for reviews? We can actually find out, when do they normally eat in the restaurant? Are they married? Do they have kids? And this is all done for the last step, is that now we have the ability to nurture them and have relevant conversations with them, right? You wouldn't send a kids eat free offer to somebody who doesn't have kids, or you shouldn't at least, because here's the reason, is it's not going to be very relevant to them. But you see that time after time on emails and things like that, is that you're sending out a mass email to everybody when it's only relevant to certain people. And so you want to divide that down and find those people that are going to be relevant for the message you're sending out. And you do that via text, you do that via email, you can do that on Facebook Messenger. You can also retarget them with other types of ads, which is dirt cheap to be able to do on social media. So let's take a look at stats of a live dashboard. This one's here. I just printed this just before we went live on the video. But let's take a look and see what's working here for this restaurant. So the number one thing is obviously they got to make people aware that they exist. And they've done that here. We've got 109,639 eyeballs or ad impressions that we've gotten in front of in that local area. And that's usually within 3 to 5 miles of the restaurant. So it's people that we know are of a high likelihood to visit. And we can see that that has led us to 852 people in just over a month to opt into the database, and we can see that's led us to 852 people right here to walk into our, and we can see that's led us to 852 people right here to come into the database, to give us their name, their email, their phone number, And then now we have that database that we own for this restaurant. They can market to at any time. On top of that, we can see that we've had 155 people walk in the door and use that first offer that we sent out to them, and 26 more people return a second time to come in and use another offer and drive that visit. And so we can see here on our dashboard, we've got 181 total people walking in the door, spending money. That's 18% of our database. We know that that's led to current track sales here of $25.87. Our average check is $14.30, and we only spent $833 to get this result. Now, when we take a look at this, we can see a lot of different things are working here in unison. Obviously, number one, getting the ad impressions. Number two, growing that into a database. And then number three, being able to see who's walking in the door and spending money. And now we're starting to identify people based on actions they take. Right now we have 181 people out of those 852 who we know spend money. Now we can start sending those other people additional offers and additional incentives to come into the restaurant and continue to frequent the restaurant so that we can turn them into repeat customers. Now, we always talk about marketing, and a lot of the times you really don't know for sure if the marketing that you're running is working. Well, what we can do with our system is that we can actually prove that the marketing is reaching the right type of people by this dashboard. And you can see this here as another example. Is that goal is to first prove that we're finding the right people by looking at how much awareness we're getting, what kind of database is that growing us, and then are people walking in the door and spending money. So everything in our restaurant secret weapon system is set to drive that first visit, gently remind customers to visit the restaurant, and then to survey them after that first visit so that we can launch a series of offers to them that are relevant and that will drive them in to spend that money. Now, when you really think about it, what's it worth for you to have your guests' contact info? How many more annual visits can you generate if you had my phone number and you're able to send me a text to say, hey, Matt, Taco Tuesdays, come in, specials, 99 cents each taco. Whatever it might be, you're able to do this now, and you're able to reach people who have a high likelihood of wanting to visit the restaurant because you've already gathered their contact info and they've already been in. And so, because you already have their contact info, or they've responded to an ad that you put out on Facebook or Instagram or some other place. So the biggest thing that you want to look at, number one, get your guest contact info. By getting your guest contact info, you can build a relationship. You can use the data to find out about your guests and find out more about them so that you can be more relevant and stay in front of them, and then have a higher likelihood of them walking in the door and spending money, whether you send them an offer or not. I'm Matt Schulteis. This has been I'm Matt Schulteis with Restaurant Secret Weapon. If you want to create your secret weapon for your restaurant, you can reach out to me at 951-816-0181 or matt@restaurantsecretweapon.com. Thanks.